What are you doing here? Seerat, do you know her?
Well,
Be honest with me. Answer me this, I want to know.
maybe I do.
What does that mean? It's a simple question. Do you know her or not?
Enough. We don't need all this drama.
She is the one creating drama, as always.
Well, I didn't get it.
But I know what's going on. And why it's happening.
He understood that she's my sister.
Just stop right there, Angad dear.
Mrs. Munger, please. We like Seerat, especially for Angad. So I would like to ask, with your permission, could we perform the ritual?
But what about the engagement? Will the engagement be done?
Well, we'll get that done as well.
Greetings.
Greetings, everybody. Greetings.
Greetings to you
Welcome,
too.
welcome.
Sahiba, something bad has happened. Hurry up.
What?
Hey, want to watch this in your own language subtitle? It's super easy. Just click the CC button. If you're on your phone, tap the CC button above. If you're watching on a TV or laptop, click the CC button below. Choose your language, English, Arabic, French, Spanish, German, and many more. And enjoy the series your way.
Greetings.
Greetings, everyone.
Most welcome to you.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings.
Wow, Seerat is looking so beautiful. Just like an angel.
Angad is looking equally awesome.
Just come inside. Please come inside.
Sure. Come. Sure.
I'm feeling so anxious here, and Gary's dancing with his cousins. Gary's carrying Angad on his shoulders and dancing. Does he really even love me or not? Before this news of engagement blasts, I'll have to talk to Gary in private.
Greetings, ma'am. Greetings.
Seerat is looking prettier than yesterday.
It's a big day today. It's a special day for her. So that's why she's dressed up so well. Because it's the first ritual of her and Angad's wedding.
That is true.
Exactly.
I don't see your two other daughters here.
That's really strange, Miss Sahiba. You didn't go to your sister's engagement.
Here you go. Just leave. We don't want to get into any fights. I can't stop my work for her engagement, right? I have to complete my orders. How could I just go?
𝐋𝐬𝐿, go and bring 2 plates. I've got the food.
2 plates?
2 plates.
What about me?
You drink the flavored water. Don't be sad. I've got for you as well. Go and bring 3 plates.
Why did you bring these water balls?
You remember the other day when Sister Seerat and Mom refused to recognize you? We had the same special food. Now that Mom has gone to get the beauty queen engaged, without her other 2 daughters, I thought this definitely calls for special food today.
You behave like a wrestler to everyone outside.
But you're so sweet within. Hard outside, but soft inside. Hey, listen. Don't say that. If someone hears this, it'll spoil my reputation. I'm sweet and soft just for you. I'm still hard and tough for all the outsiders. Rock solid. And also, sister, you remember that ATM's brother? Veer? Sister, he is so scared of me that I can't even begin to tell you.
Well, they couldn't make it. My second daughter had some business meeting for work. She has gone to Mumbai, and the youngest had a trip from her international college. She has gone to Manali. Everything happened in a hurry, so they couldn't make it.
It's their eldest sister's engagement, and they still didn't come?
Well, everything happened in such a hurry. I'm sure you can understand. That's why they couldn't make any adjustments.
That's true. Everything happened so fast.
Yes, ma'am.
Well then, when everything happened in a hurry, why delay it now?
Oh, yes.
Seerat, come on. Angad is waiting for you.
Come, my dear.
What's the matter? Why does the bride look so worried?
No. It's just that I'm a bit nervous.
It's obvious that you're nervous.
I must do something.
Why is Seerat holding Gary's hand?
Well, I hope that you're fine. You'd have faltered, and is that why you held my hand? Right, Miss Seerat?
No. I mean, yes. I was feeling a bit nervous. Can I get a glass of water?
Seerat? You okay?
Yes. I was feeling a bit weird.
Here you go. Drink some water.
My dear, I hope you're okay.
Yes, Mum.
Oh, I was so scared.
I'm the one who was scared. I wish I could talk to Gary once.
Did you say something?
Well, no. Why do you feel so?
I don't know why, but I felt... Anyway, forget it.
You look much more nervous than I do.
No, I'm not nervous at all. I just found it a bit weird.
Like what?
I know this is not the time, but, I have a stupid question. Are you happy with this engagement? I mean, is anyone forcing you into this?
But, my dear, what are you saying? Everything is happening with Seerat's consent. She's so lucky that she has got such a good family like yours. She's a girl, after all. She cannot express her happiness openly. I already saw how happy she was at home. Seerat, shall I tell him?
I'm sorry, ma'am. It's just that I saw Seerat was worried and that's why I asked.
Not at all, dear. She's fine, isn't it?
No. This wedding is taking place with my consent.
Well, then let's make them both get over their nervousness. Well, guys, let's get started.
Let's proceed with the ceremony. There's so many rituals to be completed.
I'll go and call father-in-law and mother-in-law. They'll both be really happy today. This is the first wedding of our family's third generation.
Greetings.
Greetings. We're happy that you are here. Please come.
Father-in-law, Angad and Seerat are waiting for the two of yours blessings.
Manvir, dear, Angad will always have my blessings. He does not have to wait for it.
But, my dear, start practicing to bless him double. Angad will soon bring a new member that will be joining us in our family.
Please.
Yes.
Come
Come
dear.
on, come on.
Greetings to you, sir.
Greetings.
Father-in-law, he is Seerat's father.
Aunt Manvir, where is Uncle Inda? Sister 𝐂𝐿 has given me a day to wish the family members good evening. All the family are here, but where's Uncle Inda?
Prince, forget that day. I'll give you another. Come.
Mother, I had told Dad to be here. Had you reminded him earlier to come here?
Angad, we don't need to be inviting him formally. He is your father. Well, I do not think that Brother Inda will attend.
Bless you, my dear.
Be happy.
Seerat, dear. You see Angad's grandmother, my wife. After we got married, she is the one who has kept the family united with her love. Then came Angad's mother and aunt, that is, Manveer and Gurleen. Even they fulfilled their responsibility duly. Now it's your turn. You will be the daughter-in-law of this family now. Therefore, the responsibility of this family will now be on your shoulders.
I will be the daughter-in-law, but please bless that destiny changes my groom. I wish to marry Gary, not this boring Angad. Honestly.
My dear, your father isn't here to bless you. Go upstairs and seek his blessings. And do tell him that holding a grudge against me doesn't mean that he should be upset with any of you.
It is strange that some people think that the world only revolves around them. I don't know if this is their immaturity, or if it is just their arrogance, or if it's habits. I don't understand.
I don't think Angad and his father and his grandfather are on speaking terms with each other.
Sister, let them have it if they want to. I just hope it doesn't ruin today's events at all. I do not want any hindrance in this engagement and alliance.
Bless you. And what do you think? Did you think your father is so haughty and arrogant that he would miss such an important day of your life? No. I am not like my own father. I want to welcome you to the family, dear. You might be seeing me for the first time. I'm your father-in-law. I bless you and Angad to have a happy married life together. I will pray to the heavens that your union be full of love and so much affection for each other. May your marriage be free of the fear of what society thinks. Dear, I hope that the rules and the regulations of this family are not a burden to you at all.
He is my son, Inderpal. She is Seerat's mom.
Greetings.
And that's Seerat's aunt.
Thank you.
Greetings to you.
All right, everyone is here. Let us start the engagement ceremony. This, dear. This ancestral necklace is not just some piece of jewelry. It carries the heritage of our family. When my mother-in-law held my post-wedding ritual, she gave me this necklace as a blessing. And when Manveer became the daughter-in-law of this family, I gave it to her.
Now it is yours.
We have been following this tradition. The eldest daughter-in-law gets this necklace. Therefore, we are giving this necklace to you. Make sure you keep it safe, my dear. Also, we have been following another tradition. The daughter-in-law wears it on the day after her wedding, right? Given me a necklace.
You said something?
Did you hear it?
I wonder why I feel that you're saying something here.
Not at all.
So tell me, yes, did you say something? No.
He's a mischief maker.
Take this, dear. It's a gift for you. Bless you both. Always be happy.
Aunt Manveer, why are you standing there? It's your son's engagement. Take center stage.
I must say, you people made all arrangements so quickly. And now that they're engaged, let's finalize the wedding date, shall we not? We have already started the preparations.
Congratulations on the engagement.
Congratulations to you two.
But why are you in such a hurry for the wedding? They only just got engaged. The wedding date,
No. I mean, this is the next step after the engagement, don't you think?
Angad's grandparents and I believe that after 1 year, we shall get Angad and Seerat married.
All my lies will stand exposed in 1 year.
Loving the drama so far? Don't miss the next twist. Hit that subscribe button now for more English-dubbed twists, turns, and unforgettable moments every single week. Real drama, real emotions, all in English.
Oh wow, all of you people have managed it really well in no time. And let us now pick a wedding date, shall we? Please, ma'am. We have begun with the preparations.
And tell me, what is the hurry then? They've only just gotten engaged. Now the wedding date?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, an engagement is usually followed by a wedding, so...
Then tell me something.
Yes?
Yesterday, Seerat took so long to show up. And you asked us to wait, didn't you? We waited very patiently. And now suddenly you want to pick a wedding date already. Is it only you who will decide?
Oh, well, no, not at all, ma'am.
Listen, Manveer. Be polite. Don't lose your cool.
No, mother-in-law. Well, does she want to do it all then? She is in a hurry because They don't want to lose a Richie like Angad. I mean, that would be terrible for them, wouldn't it? We are the groom's family. Can't we also decide? Are we not asked?
No, ma'am, not at all. I didn't mean it like that. You must have misunderstood me. That's all. What I mean to say is, they have just gotten engaged, and since all of us are here today, then let's just decide and pick a wedding date.
Well, I see. Then fine, we'll pick. And we have already picked a date that suits us very well.
Oh, well, that's exactly my point, ma'am. You're right. I'm really happy about this, ma'am. Which dates have you decided on? So that we can do the preparations. After all, we are the bride's family.
Oh, you'll have enough time for preparations. Don't worry. Don't worry about it at all.
I see.
Angad's grandparents and I have decided they'll be married 1 year from now.
After a year?
Right. That's a family tradition. One that we've done for years now.
So both of them get some quality time to spend with one another. And to get to know each other better, of course.
Now that's some news. I can plan Angad's exit and Gary's entry easily. And then Gary and I will get married, honestly.
Oh, heavens, that's trouble now. How will I hide things for a year? A whole year? That is way too long. Well, a year, ma'am?
Can we be excused, please?
Yes, sure, of course.
Come on.
What?
Come on. What is this charade right now? Look at you coming up with a whole series of lies. And how are you going to continue it for an entire year? How are you going to claim that this is your house for an entire year? Any ideas? What will you do?
Yes, you are right, aren't you? They've just gotten engaged. They now have a year to get to know each other, don't they?
Yes, of course. I agree with it as well.
Well, yes, of course. You two will come much closer and do some dating. Right, Angad?
Santosh? Santosh, what is wrong?
Mom!
Santosh! Santosh!
Mom!
Santosh, what happened?
Mom! Aunt, what happened to her?
Open your eyes,
Mom,
dear.
what's
I don't understand. She just fell to the ground.
Mom? Mom, what's wrong? Please get up.
Give her some space. Please, guys.
Toshi, come on, dear. Open your eyes.
Veer, call the doctor right now.
Yes, brother.
Yes, Dad. How is it going? Mom must be the happiest.
She completely lost her senses.
What? How? What happened to her?
I really have no idea. But I think that we should call Dr. Sandhu here, since he always treats your mother when she's like this.
Of course. I'll come with him now.
You? Come here? No, you don't come here. I have seen how Angad treats you when he is with you. Do not come here. All you need to do is send Dr. Sandhu here.
I cannot just leave Mom alone. I will manage. I'll call Dr. Sandhu first, okay? Just give me a minute. What on earth? What happened to her, sister? Hello? Dr. Sandhu?
Toshi, open your eyes. Toshi, are you alright?
Mom, get up. What's wrong?
Veer, where is the doctor you called?
Mr. Munger asked for his family doctor, which is why I refused ours.
I see. Then inform the security to let him in as soon as he arrives, okay?
Okay.
What happened to her all of a sudden? I don't get it. Something is really up. Mr. Sandhu, please go in. We'll join in some time.
Why though? Where are you going? Who's in there with Miss Monga?
Dad and Sister Seerat, please, go now.
And why aren't you coming in?
Doctor, just go in. We'll tell you later. Please go check in with Mom. Wait, Doctor, it would be best if you didn't mention us, please. The guards will never let us in. Listen, if they stop us today, then you please do not stop me. This is my chance. I will make them black and blue and deliver them to the heavens, or I do not deserve my name. Have you lost it? Mom is unwell and you... Just try to think of something. And don't create a scene. We do not create scenes anyway. But when Mr. Angad and you are around, scenes get created. I told him I'll never show up here again. But this is about Mom. I will get in. But how?
Listen, I don't want any complaints today. Wear your masks and gloves at all times. They are rich and hygiene conscious, okay? Do you understand? Everything needs to be clean.
Do you have any idea? I don't want to. But this is the only option to reach Mom. Which is?
Let me check with her. You can all wait outside.
Mother, I will inform the driver to be ready for us. We may have to rush to the hospital.
Yes, okay.
Yes, sir. Dr. Sandhu is checking her now. Are you at home or at the shop?
We're at Brar Mansion, Dad. Don't worry.
Why did you come here? Listen, you really need to be careful, or you're surely going to end up in trouble, and Angad will lose his cool at your side. And I will not tolerate your humiliation every single time, okay?
Dad, do not worry. I'm safe. Just... Goodness, he got diverged.
Who are you talking about here?
It's Angad, Dad.
Angad? Did he maybe see you by any chance?
Just stay with Mom and I'll be there soon, okay? Don't worry about egoistic Angad. I'll manage.
Excuse me. Who are you? Who allowed you onto this property? Answer me.
We are from the catering team.
Well, that is obvious, I can see. But how dare she call me egoistic?
You are also Angad?
What do you mean?
Oh, my younger brother's name is also Angad. I was just talking about him. He is audacious, adamant, and he's a very naughty boy. My dad is quite annoyed with him every day, so I just try not to worry about him. Egoistic Angad.
Angad, sir? Hey, what are you doing here? You need to go and serve the guests. Sir, do you like the arrangements that we've made? What's wrong? Are there any problems? Did they do anything wrong, sir?
No.
You're both still here? Go and serve the guests already. Go on. Go!
Wait. Why are you touching your mask so much?
We are so gone.
I asked something.
Well, it's not the mask. She's bothered by her teeth. Wisdom tooth. She's in pain. Shall we go?
Okay, sir.
Listen, be ready with the car. We may need to rush to the hospital. Inform the security to clear the gate.
Hey, have you pursued a diploma in lying? I almost died. But you lied so confidently.
Sister, no thanks to you.
Had I said the truth, we'd get thrashed. Come on, let's go.
Kirat, will Mom be all right? I am so tense over all of this.
Sister, we are doing this for our mother. Come on, let's get going.
I wish we could end her like this. Just how younger sisters visit elder sisters' in-laws. I wish we never had to lie, dear sister.
I hope Kirat and Sahiba are safe now. I wonder if you saw them or not.
I just do not understand at all. Why on earth does Sahiba have to come?
Oh, and why shouldn't she come then? Her mother is her life. She feels that she has to come here whenever she's in pain. Don't you understand that?
Mr. Ajit, I'm trying to perform the checkup. Will you please stop chatting?
Sure thing, doctor, sure thing. Sandu, Seerat, come on, let's go, dear.
Let's go.
Is everything all right?
Miss Seerat, is she all right? Don't worry at all. We'll rush her to the hospital soon in case of emergency. The drivers are standing by and ready.
Well, I have no idea about your family doctor, but... Well, I suggest to call our own family doctor. I think that would be the best. I think he is the best.
Well, there is nothing you have to worry about. We will make sure that Dr. Sandhu will treat her well.
I really don't understand. What happened to her all of a sudden?
Well, yes, exactly. She was all well. She was talking about the wedding date and lost senses, not gaining any senses. Is it anything serious?
Well, she suffers from hypertension quite badly. You may have noticed that. Her blood pressure shoots up quite easily, you see, and especially at times like this.
Dad, will she be all right?
Miss Seerat, do not worry. Mother-in-law will be fine. I mean, Miss Mongo will be fine. If there's any case of an emergency, we'll rush her to the hospital. Don't worry. Veer, just go check with the driver and check that they're ready and standing by.
Yes, brother.
Miss Seerat, don't worry. I'll handle it. All of us will.
What on earth happened to Mom?
Like a bulldozer. I mean, that was quite some collision.
Bulldozer? Do you even use your eyes? Can you not see?
You... Seems like the wrestler 𝐻𝐕𝐄 just dashed me. But why am I thinking of her?
Such an alien creature. I'll just lose my cool. So weird. All Brar brothers are the same.
Let it be. Hurry up now.
But sister, all of them are here. How will we get in?
Hello?
Dad, to your left, look. Just stay quiet, just stay quiet. Dad, please ask them to leave. Can you do that, please? We need to get inside.
Okay, let me try something.
Well, sir, what happened? Is everything fine? You look a bit tense.
Yes, but how long will you all just stand here waiting for her? I will inform you once the doctor tells me about her. I'll update you as soon as I know. I just don't want to bother you all any longer.
Come on, Mr. Monga, don't worry about it.
Mr. Monga, we are relatives. We must act like that right now. And you are also a part of the family. To do something for your family is nothing to get bothered about. We will wait right here.
Yes, you are right. But how long will you all stand waiting? You must attend as guests. I do not want the people to disgrace you. You all have important roles to play here. So, go and enjoy yourselves. Please, I do insist.
Well, my dear, I really think that Mr. Monga is right. His family is here. Suda is here and Seerat. So I think it's better if we all leave.
All of you go. I'll, stay back with her.
No, that's not needed. You must all go and enjoy yourself. I will handle it. I will inform you if the doctor thinks that there is any sort of emergency.
Okay, as you please. That's fine with me.
Let us all leave here at once, and I'm sure the doctor will inform us accordingly.
Yes, that's right. We should also come. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Loving the drama so far? Don't miss the next twist. Hit that subscribe button now for more English-dubbed twists, turns, and unforgettable moments every single week. Real drama, real emotions, all in English.
come.
Dr. Sandhu, what happened to Mom?
Hey, who are you people? Sahiba? 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐕𝐄? Both of you in disguise? What's going on?
Forget that. Tell me what has happened to Mom. Is she all right? Do we have to take her to the hospital? Let's take her to the hospital. Mom?
Sister Sahiba, let Dr. Sandhu speak. Go on, sir.
Sahiba, I don't understand. BP, pulse, heart rate, everything's normal. I don't see any problems here at all.
Let's take her to a hospital. I'll call an ambulance.
Listen, dear.
Hello, ambulance?
Is everyone gone?
Mom, what happened? Are you all right?
What have you people worn? Huh? Look at yourself.
Mom, we had to do it. We had to come here in disguise.
Why did you ask if everyone is gone?
𝐀𝐻𝐿, go and shut the door, please.
Mom, how are you feeling now? Are you all right?
Oh, for heaven's sake. Why do you ask that repeatedly, dear? Why do you ask how I am doing? I am not doing fine.
What happened, Mom? Let's take you to the hospital.
But you don't appear to be unwell at all.
Shut up. I am physically well, but I am under a lot of stress. Can't you understand that?
Ma'am, you're doing well. What's going on here?
Oh, Sahiba, you did the right thing, my dear, by calling and getting Dr. Sandhu here. You are our family doctor. You are just like our family, right? Can I consider you my brother and share my feelings with you, please, sir? Well, a while ago, my daughter Seerat got engaged, but her to-be mother-in-law says the wedding will only happen after a year. I started feeling dizzy soon after I heard that, and I just didn't understand what to do. It's all so bad. Well, all I am thinking about is to reduce this waiting period of this very long year, sir. That's it.
Is that why you pretended to faint? Mom, do you have any idea how scared we were? I have never worn such clothes in my life, Mom. But today, only for your sake, I gave up my self-respect and have snuck into someone's house. You did not do the right thing. This is very wrong, Mom.
Please don't say that. Just try to imagine. If the wedding doesn't happen for a year, then...
So will you pretend to faint again? You toyed with our emotions. We were scared to death when we heard that you had fainted. How could you do this, Mom?
No, dear. Please calm down, my love. Just calm down. Dear, not your anger, but I need your support at this moment. I really do. Okay, I'm sorry. I hold my ears and apologize to you. You aren't holding them. All right? I won't repeat it. I promise. Mother promises. Dear, once Seerat gets married, I won't have to put up any pretense. Understand? Just for once, help me in this ruse, my dear. I just want you to convince him to go out and tell everyone that my condition is quite critical for me and a danger to my health.
How can Dr. Sandhu say that?
Dr. Sandhu, listen. Even you have a daughter. You do understand the pain of a parent, don't you?
Ma'am, please forgive me. I can be of no help to you. I cannot lie to anyone. Sahiba, I should leave now. I came here on your request, but here...
The doctor's taking too long in there. I hope it's nothing serious. Uncle, I think we should go inside and check.
No, dear. I mean, we should wait for Dr. Sandhu to come out. I mean to say, we shouldn't disturb him while he is busy.
Yes, dear. Let the doctor do his job. Let's all wait for him.
Okay, Grandpa.
Dr. Sandhu, I had no idea about it. I just never expected my mom would do such a thing.
That's strange. I did. Excuse me. Give me a minute. Come here. What is it? Huh? You provoking him instead of convincing him? He heeds only your words. Sahiba, just go and tell him. It's just a matter of one lie.
Mom, how can I convince him when I'm not convinced myself? I'm already ashamed. Moreover, you're asking me to do this. I can't do it. Sorry.
Sahiba? You're telling this to me? And, Sahiba, it's the matter of your sister's wedding. Just think about it. If this wedding doesn't happen to take place within 1 year, there will be several problems coming up. What will you do? Tell me. You don't want your sister's wedding to take place. Tell me. No wonder our elders have always said to have the wedding soon after the engagement. They knew any delay would cause problems.
I understand that, Mom. But I'm not convinced. It's not right to lie every time. It's wrong.
Sister Sahiba is right.
I'm talking to her, right? So why on earth are you interfering? If you think your sister is right, I'm not wrong either. You get that? I'm asking her for the small favor. She can't do me the small favor?
No, she doesn't want to do that. Well, Mom, not everyone in this world is bound to follow all of your orders.
Fine. Dr. Sandhu, it's just about today. Just do me the small favor, sir. Please. I won't ask you for anything again. I promise once my daughter Seerat is married, you won't have to do any such thing then. You can just enjoy thereafter. But today, if you keep denying this way, then trust me, you'll have to sign my death certificate then. Tell me what you want to do. Please tell me, doctor. Will you save me? Or will you leave me to die? Tell me what you'll do, doctor. So, doctor, what have you decided?
Well, Miss Santosh, I'm a doctor. I have my own principles. I simply refuse to lie. Also, I'm going out and telling the truth to everyone, that you're absolutely fine. You don't have any sickness or health issues whatsoever.
Sahiba, my dear, Sahiba, please tell him. Look, Dr. Sandhu always heeds your words. Dear, listen, he doesn't know, but you know everything, that if this wedding doesn't take place, I won't be able to face anyone thereafter. Sahiba, please help me, dear. Please help me and save my dignity. Don't let me break my dream. Dear, please. Please, my dear, I beg of you.
Please, just hear me out. You know my mom has hypertension. If she gets hyper, she can harm herself. I too hate lies, but I can't risk my mother's life for the sake of my principles. Please, you have to help us. Please just listen to me calmly here. This voice sounds really familiar. I've heard it somewhere before. Yes, that's her voice, isn't it? The one who decorated the prayer room. I know it. And the other day outside Monga's house. What was her name? Sahiba.
Sahiba, I understand your compulsions, but you have to understand my helplessness. I'm still a doctor, and it's believed that there are two people you should never lie to. First the Lord, and the second a doctor. But all of you together right now are making a doctor lie.
But what is that girl doing here with these? And she's addressing this lady as mom? What is that? Even this drama queen is addressing her as my dear. I have seen the world, but this is the first time that I'm seeing so many twists and turns in the same story. Well, no matter what, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Will Mom recover?
Seerat, why do you worry? Nothing bad will happen. Your family doctor is with her. He's examining her. And we're all here, so don't worry.
Mr. Monga, is Dr. Sandhu your family physician?
Yes.
You called him here, right?
No, well...
If you didn't call him, then who did?
Miss Santosh's daughter called me up. I came at her call.
I must appreciate you, Seerat. Given the situation, you used your presence of mind. You called your family doctor to come here. You did a good job.
Thank you. Definitely Sahiba must have called Dr. Sandhu.
Doctor, how is Miss Santosh's health now? Is everything fine?
Doctor, sir, what had happened to her? She fainted suddenly.
Is it a matter of concern? What has happened to Santosh? Why are you quiet? Come on, say something.
Is he observing a vow of silence? Why is he keeping so mum? Kirat, speak politely.
Her health is doing much better. None of you need to worry anymore.
Thank goodness.
But she's not out of danger. You all are well aware that for quite some time now, she had hypertension. With that said, in this situation, if her stress levels increase at all, her condition can be bad. It's difficult to say anything with certainty right now. Anything can happen at this point.
Tell me, what do you mean? Can you be clear on the situation?
Patients with hypertension are always in danger. They could suffer a stroke, or there are chances of organ failure. If she faces more stress, she can suffer a heart attack.
Oh, goodness.
That is a big lie.
But doctor, hypertension can be treated. There must be something that we can do.
Well,
There's nothing. There's no treatment. There is no treatment for this. I've consulted many specialists, tried everything we could. We didn't find any solution. I just get such attacks. There's no treatment for this illness. What do I do? Only by the Almighty's grace I'm living now. The rest is up to Him. The doctor told me I don't have much time left. No. Don't cry. It's fine. Almighty, whatever you've done till now, Almighty, I've thought it's your wish and kept quiet. But this time I'm really upset with you. I can't witness Seerat's wedding. 1 year. Almighty, they have given me the time of 1 year. Eventually my heart will stop beating. Oh.
Mom, why do you say so? Nothing will happen to you. We won't let anything happen to you. Stop thinking negatively. Honestly.
No, my dear. Truth isn't negative or positive. It's just the truth. No, dear, don't cry. So what if I'm not able to witness my dearest daughter's wedding? I can still give you all my blessings. It is said that if a person's wishes remain unfulfilled after death, their spirit keeps roaming on earth. I just have one wish, to witness my daughter's wedding, Seerat. I wish to see you as a bride. But now, I think that you will all see my coffin.
No, Mom. Please don't say that, please.
I know, my dear. You won't get married without me, right? You won't, right? No. Don't cry. Smile. I've witnessed a lot, but I swear I'm seeing such an Oscar-worthy performance for the first time.
Miss Santosh, please, don't worry about it. We have a lot of friends in America who are famous doctors, and I'm sure that they could treat your illness.
Yes. To heck with you. Get yourself treated first. You seem to be obsessed with ruining my plans.
Sister-in-law, you heard Miss Santosh. She's already consulted doctors abroad. And we should really understand that. Doctors are really angels, not the Almighty himself. They can't solve every problem.
Get married without you being present. How can I? The joy will be meaningless if I can't share it with you.
No, my dear. Don't cry. Come on. Aren't you overdoing it?
No, keep going.
Should I turn it down?
Mom!
Mother, Miss Santosh doesn't seem to be feeling very well. And you heard what what they said, right? Do you think we should be adamant about waiting a year for the wedding? I mean, really? Mother, I have seen the world, and that's why I say nothing else matters more than our humanity. They're going to be family soon. And in this situation, it's our duty to understand all of their problems. Isn't it?
It was going so well, and then suddenly...
We should get Angad and Seerat married at the earliest moment.
Yes, Gurleen, you are right about that. And I don't think that we should delay this decision any longer. I really don't.